Desert Oracle Radio, the voice of the desert.
Night has fallen on the desert on this winter solstice eve. And we've got some big news from Anatolia, modern-day Turkey, where archaeologists say they have found the tomb of St. Nicholas. Old St. Nick, better known as Santa Claus. It's all over the internet, it must be true. But if you've seen this news in recent days and you dig back for the actual source, the news article, it turns out this story is 7 or 8 years old and has recently found a new audience online and been made popular anew by people who don't know what the month, day, and year means at the top of a news article. But that's alright if it's old news. Christmas itself is old news, after all. That's why we love it. Because it's ancient and beautiful. The time for silent walks in the cold night, just the sound of your boots crunching through the snow. So I just want to talk to you about it for a minute. The Guardian, the newspaper, put out this article that starts off saying the news of finding St. Nicholas's tomb in the very church named for him, and in accord with centuries of tradition, has, quote, dashed the hopes of millions of children, end quote. Who wrote that? Well, the name's right there on the miserable article, but I'm not going to dignify it by saying it on the radio. Because radio signals travel forever into space. And that's a kind of immortality. I don't know if this is in the style book at The Guardian, but saints are not expected to be physically alive for thousands of years. They die as we all do. Even if, like Elijah being taken up by the Lord into the strange skies above, they are dead for all practical purposes, no longer living here on earth as human mortal beings. Saints are not vampires. They live, they die, and their spirit lives on here on earth, where they intercede in the affairs of men and women, just like in the old times, the ancient days. Children should not have their hopes dashed by the Guardian newspaper. Luckily, no one under 45 years old or so has ever seen or heard of the Manchester Guardian, nor any other newspaper. Besides, I saw a surely scientific forensic reconstruction of the living face of St. Nicholas, and it's a jolly old man with a white beard. What do you know? New study proves it. Go ahead and enjoy your Christmas holiday. Let the kids out of their rooms. Let them come out for Christmas morning to unwrap their Steam gift cards or whatever. Maybe a BB gun. Or a nice new shovel. Every kid loves a shovel, and then they can go outside and try it out by clearing the snow out of the driveway. If you've listened to this radio show for any length of time, You know that we just love to gather the signs and wonders of our time like a crow gathering shiny treasures to take back to the home site. You might remember that exactly 5 years ago, the American Great Plains was in the midst of a good old-fashioned regional UFO flap. Mass sightings, mass confusion, non-stop local news reports, baffled officials, and very little in the way of evidence besides people's own stories, their own experiences. The gossipy spread of which leads everybody to go out looking for the mystery drones. And now you've got all the people who never pay any attention to the night sky in the first place, standing outside looking up in wonder. So every common helicopter and small plane and real estate agent drone and distant satellite and airport-bound airliner is baffling and unfamiliar. And of course, there are the videos everybody sees on their phones or on the local news segment, and it utterly obscures whatever might really be happening. And whether we are speaking of the mystery drone wave of 2019 and very early 2020 over the American Great Plains, or the December 2024 New Jersey mystery drones mystery, we're unlikely to be talking about human-shaped space aliens and little spaceships just doing recon over cornfields or over suburban New Jersey. It's as unlikely as Dunkin' Donuts Corporation dropping off Christmas treats to every household in the Garden State by drone. But there's still a mystery to it all, and the funny thing about this sort of mystery is that it's never, ever resolved, never solved. It's all going to last a few more weeks, like in the Colorado Plains mystery drone wave, and then all we'll have are the memories. If you're interested, look on your podcast player for our October 30th episode from the year 2020, The Great Conjunction.
Desert Oracle Radio.
Sometimes these mass visions are a sign, a warning of something sinister to come. Well, that was the case with the Great Plains mystery drones, because exactly as the increasingly menacing, often triangular Great Plains visitors were making their strange, coordinated, low-altitude, nighttime scans of the farmland below, while brilliant motherships hovered high overhead, right as all that was happening, a sinister virus escaped into the urban population of Wuhan in China. A virus, it was originally claimed, that was delivered unto us by a bat. As increasingly frustrated and nerve-wracked law enforcement officials in Colorado fielded constant calls for the strange, intrusive invaders over farm and field Too many times in our over-explained, disenchanted world, we demand some simple answers, something ChatGPT can spit out. Basic, maybe even half correct. Were the mystery drones over the American Great Plains in late November and December of 2019 connected in some provable, legally actionable fashion to the simultaneous panic and spread of COVID-19 in China, a disease that would reach American shores a few weeks later? Just as the final mystery drones faded from our skies and our attention spans. A couple of weeks ago, I found myself again being annoyed by a certain kind of false language that fills the newspaper articles and bad faith arguments and general discourse, as they call it on Twitter. Or Blue Sky, the Twitter knockoff for people with too many college degrees and too many personality disorders. Discourse. Now that the year of 2024 is coming to a close, I thought we might choose some of the worst language tics of our time and banish them forever so that we might speak more honestly and have less reason to immediately dismiss what another person says to us. So I posted this. I said, there are a number of evil, empty, last decade phrases that must be left behind when the new year arrives, halfway through the 2020s. Let's start with circling back. Please add other evil, empty phrases that must also be removed from public life. And some of the responses were as follows. Legacy media. Unless that's the name of a company, let's please stop saying legacy media. It doesn't mean anything. The CNN manages a few tens of thousands of viewers nationwide, while a podcaster who is not legacy media is the most listened to broadcaster in the English language. Someone suggests we permanently retire the word workflow. Someone else suggests grind set. And the journalist Jack Schaefer nominates I hear you. Also on the list, impactful. What does that mean? Are your wisdom teeth bothering you? My truth? There's no such thing. There's measurable truth and there's opinion. Unpack? When not referring to removing items from luggage or boxes. Green energy, that usually means scraping every living thing from many thousands of acres of pristine wilderness to build industrial electricity factories that will soon be toxic ruins upon a forever destroyed landscape. In an abundance of caution, we're also canceling that phrase. An abundance of caution. Touching base. Unless you're playing baseball. And that's a referee call. Re-upping sounds like something people were doing in the bathroom of Studio 54 in 1979. Anything described as iconic that's not a bug-eyed portrait in an Orthodox church. Oh, don't forget, clap back. No clapping back. What are you, a bunch of Marine World SEALs? This is Desert Oracle Radio with Seasonal Soundscapes by Red, Blue, Black, Silver. Well, those are all pretty good choices. Thanks to everybody who made a suggestion. Of course, the worst offenders will just keep up jabbering inanities at you, so it's up to you to correct them as you would with a puppy you're trying to house train. Don't do that. Here's a treat. Most of these words and phrases are corporate therapy speak and only used to fill the empty spaces in Zoom meetings and other empty conversations. Just ask people what they mean. If your colleague at the AI company says she's raw dogging the spreadsheet, ask for an explanation. Generally, the person won't have any idea what it means because it's something picked up from social media or a TV show on Hulu or whatever. Raw dogging, by the way, is a term you don't want to have to explain to anybody, especially not at a work meeting or over Christmas dinner with all the little kids suddenly listening with great attention. Your crusade against the empty jargon of therapy and conference rooms is good for everyone because when we speak plainly, politely, but with conviction, and don't speak at all when we don't need to, we make life better for everybody, for all. Once you point out that circle back sounds like what a toilet does in Australia, people will avoid the phrase out of shame. Let's also stop saying hey as a business or professional salutation. Hay is for horses. Whose woods these are, I think I know. His house is in the village, though. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. My little horse must think it queer to stop without a farmhouse near. Between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year. He gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there is some mistake. The only other sound's the sweep of easy wind and downy flake. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep and miles to go before I sleep and miles to go before I sleep. Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening by Robert Frost. Written down 102 years ago as dawn broke over the snowy Vermont woods where Frost lived and tried to keep food on the table from freelance writing and not really knowing how to be a farmer. Now let us hear from another giant of American verse, Henry Wadsworth Longfellow of Portland, Maine, with his poem called Christmas Bells. Written by Longfellow on Christmas Day of the year 1863, and first published 2 years later in 1865. I heard the bells on Christmas Day. Their old, familiar carols play. And wild and sweet, the words repeat of peace on earth, goodwill to men. And thought how, as the day had come, the belfries of all Christendom had rolled along the unbroken song of peace on earth, goodwill to men. Till ringing, singing on its way, the world revolved from night to day. A voice, a chime, a chant sublime of peace on earth, goodwill to men. Then from each black accursed mouth, the cannon thundered in the south. And with the sound, the carols drowned of peace on earth, goodwill to men. It was as if an earthquake rent the hearthstones of a continent and made forlorn the households born of peace on earth, goodwill to men. And in despair I bowed my head. There is no peace on earth, I said. For hate is strong and mocks the song of peace on earth, goodwill to men. Then pealed the bells more loud and deep. God is not dead, nor doth he sleep. The wrong shall fail, the right prevail. With peace on earth, goodwill to men. From Amboy to Zyzex, broadcasting across the Great Mojave Wilderness, this is Desert Oracle Radio with seasonal soundscapes by Red, Blue, Black, Silver. Visit our website at desertoracle.com. Thanks to our Christmas elves who keep this show running. They do it over at patreon.com/Desert Oracle. While rain and even some snow is forecast for Christmas Day, depending on where you are in the American West and at what altitude and etc., the Mojave Desert has been just beautiful these last weeks of December, and I expect the Great Basin will be cold and bright when I get up to the Eastern Sierra in a few days. Wherever you are this Christmas week, I hope you get outside and get some fresh air and beautiful vistas and long walks. I'll take a half-day walk up and around the desert foothills over just about anything. Nature's gift. A Christmas present from the Creator. The prettiest winter holiday I can recall was right up there by the Black Rock Canyon Campground in Joshua Tree National Park a couple of years ago, when my kids were still little and no video game could compete with fresh fallen snow. Joshua trees and their juniper friends never look so pretty as when coated with new snow, the ground all white all around. Other than the little paw prints of various small creatures who've already explored the brilliant new morning landscape. We hiked around, and before long we were throwing snowballs at each other. Now and then those pictures pop up on my phone, and the passage of time hits me like an ice ball thrown by a 5-year-old just discovering his own strength, while the dog runs past again. Good night and Merry Christmas from the voice of the desert.